Game day 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 66 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and I'm a bit nervous. As the title suggests, it's game day. So tomorrow I have this exam, and the exam itself is not so much of a problem. The interesting bit is that it has been quite a while now since I had my last, let's say, event where, let's say, the prize was on the line. What do I mean by that? Let's say any kind of experience that you might have had in the most recent years, months, weeks. Again, I don't know what's your let's say what's your status, but as I was saying, in my case, the last one I think has been my interview for my last job. I think this was the last bit where it was a situation in which I could have done very well or very bad, or more in general to describe it. It was a situation in which I had to perform in a certain way, and there was an expectancy from my side. And this is interesting because the sensation is not pleasant, and I think any of us can agree on that. It's not something that we like. You feel a bit heavy, you are a bit stressed, you start thinking about all the possible situations, all the possible questions. And I'm, again, surprised that this situation kind of affects me because I should be trained on this. As I mentioned also in previous episodes, I, let's say, completed 5 years of university, which were, let's say, full of these scenarios, full of exams. And yet this feeling never disappears. And I would like to try to give you a bit my 2 cents about that and why I unfortunately believe that this is a needed sensation. So let's say the reaction that we have, I think it correlates directly with 2 points. The first one being preparation. Let's say that the more you are prepared, the less you should, and very big underlining on the should part, the less you should feel anxious because, you've studied, you're prepared yourself, you know what's coming. So whatever situation is put in front of you, you should be ready. And this is absolutely true. But there is also the second factor that sometimes can, let's say, be way more important than the other one. Because even if you prepare yourself, there is the psychological factor. How much does this thing mean for you? How possible is it that your emotions will take over your preparation? Again, mentioning university, I had so many, let's say, colleagues, students, other people doing the exam with me that I knew by far that they were much more prepared than me, or let's say in class, during labs, they were acing everything. So yeah, everything was going great. Yet, on game day, they choked. They started stuttering. They didn't remember things. They looked like they never studied. And unfortunately, let's say life is result-based. And if you don't perform on game day, you're as good as somebody that never showed up to practice or, again, is not to the level required to pass this test. Whereas somebody that, let's say, first of all, has a lower, cares a bit less about that thing. I do think that this is very important because the more we, let's say, value something, the more we expect a result from it, the harder it will be for us to detach from it and just be objective, just be focused. There will be an emotional part that will be there. And you can do anything about it. It's, again, just there. So, of course, with time training, you can make it better. But it's still there. And I was saying, this sensation that I have, even though, fortunately, for how I am, the character that I have, the way that let's say, I've also experienced university and the way that I see these situations, the moment that I have to do something, they become my utmost priority. And this has been the case, let's say, this last week. But at the same time, I don't nullify myself for them. And this is because I am conscious that as much as one can prepare, as much as, let's say, you go confident into it, something might happen. Either in a good, very good way or in a very bad way. You can be unlucky or you can be lucky. As I mentioned before, the percentage or the relevance that luck plays in these situations is directly correlated with preparation. The more you are prepared, even if something happens, even if you are presented with a question that you've never seen, or you are required to do something that you've never done, if your preparation is good enough, you're gonna be fine. Yet, there is that moment in which you're like, wait, am I able to do this? And this is where, that sensation, those emotions kick in. Now, let's see. As I said, I don't have necessarily, I don't think I will suffer from something like this tomorrow. That will be no problem. Given the situation that was around the whole examination, I have to say that, again, I would have absolutely enjoyed to have a bit more time to, let's say, settle better the informations in my head. Not so much from a technical point of view, but just from a, let's say, training point of view, getting accustomed to the questions, getting accustomed to the way that you're expected to respond to certain things. This is something that a bit, let's say, I still, there was a limited time to do it. So, one does the best that he can, but all of this to say that I really hope that if you have had recently, or you will have recently, a game day, I hope it goes for the best, and always focus on what you can control. And that bit are your emotions and your preparation. Make sure, though, that the most important bit, your emotions, are at bay. You are able to, let's say, work on that and always, let's say, put yourself in the best spot possible to use and leverage your preparation. Because otherwise, all the effort you've put in, it's completely pointless. This was episode 66 of the Shower Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Let me know in the comments if how do you deal with these kind of situations. Very, very curious to hear about them. And as always, thank you very much for listening, and see you at the next one.